afraid that was gonna happen. He's throttled too, son. God, thank you.
I can't believe this.
Cool.
All right, welcome to this week's Marshfield Outdoors podcast. Continue to follow along with Final Draw TV. That's our title sponsor, and we appreciate them very much. But they have season 8 starting in July, coming out in July on the Sportsman channel. Season 8 in 52 weeks now. You can catch them on the Sportsman channel and all their other content. Look at their YouTube page as well. Carson, Lindsay, Corey, and their team have a great show. They bring faith into the outdoor industry through their show and really put out some great content. And last year they had some ups and downs that you'll find out throughout the next season that's going to be airing, and we're looking forward to that. So follow along and continue to follow along the Marshfield Outdoors podcast, the Faithful Outdoorsman segment. But right now I'm going to kind of shine a little spotlight on our next guest, Derek Eaves, Ridge Rock Hunt Company.
That's right.
Following along just through social media and stuff the last few months since I kind of started following the page, and the business model is really neat. And then obviously the things that you post, and then, as I'm going along, I'm always trying to find people to be on the podcast. So I'm kind of, doing a little investigating and this and that. So Derek, I appreciate you getting on.
Absolutely. Appreciate you having me, Chad.
Yeah. Well, we can start really just kind of talking about yourself and where you're from and your upbringing and what really sparked that interest of that outdoor lifestyle that we all have come to enjoy and kind of has taken over our life, to be honest with you, when you get to this point.
Oh, no doubt.
Doing podcasts and hunting companies like you have.
No doubt. It's full time, man. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I'm actually from a little small town in Mississippi called Louisville, Mississippi, and born and raised here. I haven't always lived here. I worked for a pharmaceutical company called Eli Lilly and Company for 13 years. So I did a whole lot of traveling, training, and all kind of fun stuff. But anyway, and so from there, I had one of my local buddies that actually owns a company that wanted some help running the company. And anyway, so he put some stuff together, and here I landed in Mississippi. And actually, I had bought the house that I'm currently in. I have a really small house. I'm a really simple kind of guy and like to keep things simple. So anyway, I get to sleep in my bed every night. I get to go check trail cams in the afternoon. I get to run around in the backyard and shoot my bow and all that kind of good stuff. So
yeah,
just a small town boy with some God-given abilities and a lot of training that the good Lord put me through and brought me to where I'm at today. So,
well, when you kind of look back on your life, Derek, when you think about, when I was young, I remember my dad putting the 22 in my hand and going out and shooting bottles, and I thought that was the best thing. He'd fill them up with water, and you get to see him, shoot out, and then move me up to a 410. And I remember my dad has a farm here in Remington where I've grown up, and we have huge dove hunts every first weekend when dove season comes in. I mean, now it's gotten to be probably 50 people come out. I do a cookout and raffles and all kinds of cool stuff, and we try to raise money for different organizations and stuff like that. But it's kind of gotten to be a big event. But I remember when I was first starting out, I had this little single shot 410, and it was real dreary. And he was actually feeding cattle, so he had let me go with my buddy and his dad and his uncle. And we were out there, and people were just shooting. I mean, it sounded like the Civil War out there. And I just remember being so excited about my first experience out there with the guys. And he was coming on after he was finished feeding cattle. And every time I shot, that daggone shell would get jammed up it would never, release. And I'd have to run over. We called him Uncle Ricky. And I'd run over to Uncle Ricky, he'd pull that old pocket knife out, and he'd get to trying to get that shell out, man. I wore him out. He probably didn't even want to come back the next day. But just a memory like that is kind of what sparks, really kind of gets back into why I enjoy hunting and what it means to me. A lot of people don't understand, man, what's this about to be out in the woods, or why is it such an obsession? So can you reach back in the archives a little bit and find that story?
Man, he told me about well, I guess you mentioned the 410 or 22 and the 410, those kind of things. I haven't thought about this in a really long time. So you hit on some neurons that haven't been used in quite a while. But
Yeah.
man, we had a big pond behind my parents' house, and when I was a kid, of course, you get that BB gun, and that's kind of where it really all starts.
Right.
And man, I can't tell you how many afternoons, summer days, all these kind of things. Obviously there are a lot of turtles in the pond and those kind of things. And man, I would pump that shot that BB gun, 50 times at least to get the pressure up.
Yeah.
That
Think you
was
can get
that
to
was
that
that was a
shell.
little while. That was a little while ago. But man, I was just shooting turtles and snakes, and probably never killed a single
Right.
one of them. Obviously with a
Bounced off
BB
of 'em.
gun, but man, I thought I was doing something. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun, and that kind of got me spurred into the being outdoors. And of course, I played baseball as a kid and just really stayed outside all the time. So the outdoors, being outside, is my true passion,
Yeah.
and probably more so before even hunting goes.
Mhm.
Just being outside. Like I go to the gym sometimes, but I'd much rather jump in the backyard and do my own
Right.
little workouts and those kind of things. But that's what kind of started me in the outdoors, was the good old BB gun.
Oh man,
The
I had
good
the
old
Red
BB
Ryder. I
gun.
mean, I only had to pump it once, and I tell you that thing, it probably didn't go 20 feet, but I thought I was doing
Uh-huh.
and I
Yeah.
remember, when I first wanted to start getting into turkey hunting, and my mom, we were living off the farm at this point, and we had like, I don't know, she probably had, it was probably like 6 acres or so. I don't even know how big it was, maybe 4 acres
Yeah.
outside of town, backed up to the woods. And I wanted to go turkey hunting so bad. And I was like, I think I can go by myself. And she's like, well, you have to call next door neighbors, let them know you're gonna be in the woods. And I'd call, both next door neighbors, hey, Mr. Vance, I'm gonna go out in the back and I'm gonna try to call turkey up. And he probably thought it was crazy because we didn't ever see any turkeys around the house. He's like, oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll make sure to stay out from back there and this and that. And it just when you look back on those things, that's what really drove me. And it's interesting hearing other people's stories and hearing them shared.
Yeah.
Obviously it's carried you into your venture now. Um,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
sure when
yeah.
you were running around the country and doing different things and you kind of probably didn't have a whole lot of time to hunt, it
Yeah.
probably wore on you a little bit, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I probably I'm pretty sure I went hunting with my dad, and I don't know how old I was, but it was super cold the first time I ever went hunting.
Mhm.
And I really didn't like it because it was just so cold. I didn't have the proper gear on and everything. So honestly, I didn't start really digging into the hunting side until about like 16 years old.
Mhm.
I had a buddy of mine that hunted, and we went to school together, played ball together, best friends, and finally he taught me into going hunting with him. And then that's when the first really true love of hunting, and
Mhm.
it was deer hunting back then,
Yeah.
and so that was really kind of where it all started for me. And then it just kind of progressed from there.
Yeah.
My brother is a huge turkey hunter,
Mhm.
and I think I was 21 or 22 when I first started turkey hunting. And man, that first time turkey hunting, I was done.
Eat
It
you
was
up.
over with then. And then it just, and it's still to this day, the wild turkey is my all-time favorite
Yeah.
game to chase in the woods.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I said the
so that,
same thing. I was on a podcast back before spring, and it was different for me being on the guest side of it. And
right.
turkey, I was like, I know it's probably turkey season now, but if I had to pick one, it'd be turkey hunting. Like that is the thing that drives me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love being in the woods every season. But
Yeah.
if somebody was like, you got to pick one, I'd pick springtime, spring turkey hunting. I just
Oh yeah.
appreciate it. So,
Man, it's just the sun. It's just the sunrise,
mhm.
the owls, the crows, the
Yeah.
turkeys gobbling, the spitting, the drumming, the missed opportunities, the kills. Just the game of cat and mouse,
Yeah.
and I bow hunt for turkeys, so that
Yeah.
makes it a different kind of challenge. And so now it's to the point where just having cool interactions
Mhm.
are really nice highlights, and I get to hunt them another day, which is really cool. But at the same time, nobody likes to see a turkey walk off, right?
Right. Yeah, no. I started bow hunting turkeys 3 years ago, and so now we have
Yeah.
something in common, and I'm ate up with it. It's my favorite thing to do. I feel bad for my turkey gun because it doesn't even come out the daggone safe anymore, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ah, I should at least get it out and clean it up and give it a little attention." But, man, my dad was like, "Man, you should just hunt with the bow. You should hunt with the bow. We got plenty of turkeys and plenty of opportunity. Just try it." And,
Yeah.
this year, I had been very lucky. I'd say lucky. I had been very successful the last 2.5 seasons. And
Mhm.
this year, I mean, I guess I was just a little cocky, a little confident in myself. And first day, had 3 longbeards come in, and I missed. I completely whiffed the one. I mean, I don't understand how it filled up my whole peep site, and I still
Yeah.
whiffed. I mean, I was just so jacked up. I'd watched these turkeys and done my homework and watched them go to roost the night before.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just get ate up with it and set up perfect. They flew down. I mean, I got to watch the one fly down, the other 2 meet them out in the field, come right to me, and I just whiffed. And
Mm.
then I was like, all right, on to the next one. Let's get over it. Next one comes in. Maybe 4 days later, whiffed
Yeah.
again. And I was about to sell my bow, sell everything.
Yeah. You weren't so cocky anymore, were you?
Oh no, I was like, this knocked me off my pedestal real quick. I was like, oh, you want to simmer down a little bit.
Those turkeys will do it, man.
I
I had a similar season this year myself. Man, I missed the first one, cut the tops of the feathers off.
Mhm.
No, I shot one in Florida. Couldn't find it. I shot another one and got it, killed it. And then in Mississippi, I missed one and cut the feathers off of 2.
Oh,
Shot 2 that I couldn't find.
yeah.
And then Lacey and I went on a trip, and I said, "Baby, this is your trip." She'd never gone on a turkey hunt trip out of state, so I
Mhm.
let her do the shooting, and she had a big time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
usually how it
she killed 3, 2 in Missouri and 1 in Kansas. We rolled back to the house.
goes.
But
Yeah, and
but
when
no,
I
man, that bow hunting is just such a challenge.
it is.
It's just a huge challenge, and I've always gravitated towards things that were a challenge for some
Mhm.
reason.
Yeah.
And just like the harder it is, there's tons and tons of failure, as
Yeah.
with bow hunting turkeys or bow hunting period.
Right.
But when it comes together, man, it is just like
Beautiful.
I
It's
just
like an art. It
this.
really is.
Oh yeah,
It
I
really
mean
is. And,
fist pumping.
I started filming last year. Last spring was my first spring, so self-filming. So I threw that into it. And, obviously then you're starting to worry about like, okay, I wanted some footage this year, like the turkeys coming in, kind of put together some, episode type
Yeah,
style footage. And as soon as he would break run, I'd get on the decoys and get ready. I was like, I'm not messing this up for the camera. I'm not
yeah,
watching him come all the way in and then, just too much going on. So
no,
I love it, man.
yeah,
I enjoy it. It's just a rush and it's a different style hunt, which and I don't know if how you scout and stuff like that. I'm kind of self-taught on this bow hunting turkeys thing last 3 years, but it's almost like deer hunting. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I scout them like deer. You can kind
uh-huh,
of pattern them. You can get in their bubble. You get in their bubble, and you can make it happen. So it's been real
right.
fun and different from the running gun style I used to do all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I still like to run a gun some.
Yeah.
I'll get some leafy stuff and put it on
Mhm.
my bow and try to help conceal. And I have a leafy jacket thing that I put on,
Right.
but 100%, man, it is a patient kind of hunt,
Yeah.
and you have to have a whole lot of patience. And I tell you what, before I started, I thought I knew a lot about turkeys before I started bow hunting turkeys.
Yeah.
But once I started bow hunting turkeys, man, I have learned so much about them that I thought was totally opposite whenever I was, shotgunning and running and gunning and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I guess that's probably the same for really any animal. The closer they get, the more patient you are, and you see the different things that they do. I mean, there's a lot of times where um, you see a turkey do a certain thing back when the shotgun, you're like, all right, you better shoot him. He's just gonna leave. He's just gonna leave.
Right.
And then it just goes right back in the strut and keeps
Right.
coming on in.
But he would have been done
So
with a shotgun. We would
oh
shoot,
yeah,
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 instead of letting him
yeah.
play out.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's been an
I'm
eye
the same.
opener for me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like you get to see like flock interaction. You get to see
Hmm.
the big thing that I picked up on like a year and a half ago, 2 seasons ago was dust bowls and just different signs to hunt near. And almost, I mean, I'd put cameras up on dust bowls like it was a scrape, and the hens would come in, and 5 minutes later the gobblers would come through checking, or they'd be right behind them. And so I would use
Right.
that to my advantage and start doing that. But and then the different vocalizations that they use. I mean, I've never heard turkeys do the things I've heard them, fighting purrs and different stuff that they do when they get 5-10 yards from me that, 30 yards, you really can't pick up on them. I mean, unless you got really good ears sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's been an awesome journey, an awesome ride.
Oh, absolutely.
I can't wait till next spring.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I tell you, man, and that you brought up a good point as far as the vocalization, those kind of things. I mean, you really, whenever they get so close and you're bow hunting and all that stuff, you get so close to them, and they get so close to you rather, and you just hear the different noises a lot more pronounced just because you're having to watch them more,
Right.
and you're having to listen more and those kind of things. And it's made me, hone up on my turkey calling skills too.
Yeah.
And I use all kind of calls: mouth calls, pot calls, box calls. I have an old school scratch box,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a really soft call. That's probably one of the more deadly of calls out there, in my opinion, because they're soft. They sound like a turkey, but I mean, you have to really step your game up and to try to get turkeys in range, because you can't just jump up and run another 50 yards because you got that bow in your hand, and you got to make sure that you're hidden when that's why people, when I go hunting with my brother or Lacey or anybody that's that's going to be toting a gun, then I already know I'm not getting a shot, so I might as well leave the bow at the house.
He breaks 40 yards, he's getting dusted.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've never me and my brother, we go on about we hunt together about once, maybe twice a year, and I don't know. We went to Texas this year, but we didn't actually hunt together. But anyway, he's always the trigger puller on those. So, but that's cool too. That's fun to me. Just family interactions, and he taught me how to turkey hunt, and so I do a lot of listening, and I've been turkey hunting for 26 years, I guess. And when I go with him or even other hunters that are well tenured and do some good stuff, I just sit back and just listen.
Yeah.
I don't have to be the one calling, and I don't know everything about it, so I'm always open to learning and
just enjoying being out there. I mean, like you said at the very beginning, just being outside.
Yes, outside, man.
Yeah,
outside.
Well, I mean, so I've seen you post a lot of things about elk hunting. Is that something that you're big into, and is that kind of driven off? Is it? I mean, to me, it's like the western side turkey hunting. Western, I mean, I've never been, but that's just the interaction I feel like it is, and I mean, it's going to drive me crazy when I do go, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was talking to some guys today about some elk hunts and telling stories. And last year I went to Colorado, and back to the running around in the backyard, man. I'll run around, get the heart rate up to 140, step out to 40 something yards and shoot my bow, or and I kind of go back and forth and that kind of stuff, try to mimic a heart rate increase whenever the animal is right there in front of you. And but anyway, man, last year I went to Colorado, Trinidad, Colorado. It's one of the places that I book hunts for. And bull was down in the bottom of the mountain, and my outfitter guy cow called to him, and I mean he just turned his head and went, and then he cow called to him again, and he did it again. And the next thing I know, he's running towards the ridge that we're on. I mean, he was probably 700 yards away. I mean, a long way away, maybe further than that. And anyway, so he bebops up the ridge, and I get down about 60 yards from my where my guy was calling from. And he said, just get down there and get you a couple lanes that you can shoot through for a pretty good distance. I was like, all right. I mean, literally, I shot my bow today. I shot it yesterday. I shot it the day before. We do a whole lot of bow shooting, and because we want to be prepared for situations. So anyway, bull comes up on top of the ridge. I see his antlers, and he bugles again, and he kind of trouts down the little lane there, and he can either come to the right or the left, and he goes to the left. I already had it ranged at 36 yards, and he stops and he bugles and does a little chuckle right behind the bush, and I've already drawn back, and he comes around the bush and he comes around and he's coming right at me. So it was no way I could shoot. So literally, I'm standing there at full draw, and this bull had just bugled, and I mean I was locked in. Bull starts walking and he's coming literally right at me. And then he gets to about 15 yards and he starts trotting. And I'm sitting there at full draw. And about that, when he got to 7 yards, it was just more than I can handle, because I mean that big of an animal coming right at you. I didn't realize it, but I was actually standing on the trail. So I'm not sure that the bull wouldn't have ran right into me, because I had a perfect wind and all that kind of stuff set up. But man, I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, I mean, I was in the peep, and I was, I was
just
on
filled
it.
up the peep, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then, but the release, I shoot a thumb button, and I just had too much pressure on it, and it went off, and I shot him right in the side of his neck. And he wheeled around and went around the side of a tree for probably about 20 yards away. So I try to grab an arrow, and I'm trying to, get it out of the quiver, and I dropped the arrow. I mean, I was all tore up about it. And anyway, bull goes down the side of the mountain about 100 yards and bugles again.
Like nothing happened.
Like nothing happened. Like nothing happened.
It's unreal.
But man, but yeah. So, but to answer your question, that's a long story to answer the whole elk hunting. Is it worth it? Absolutely.
Yeah. No. Well,
absolutely.
I can't
But
wait
like I said,
for that to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of guys like the rifle hunts, and but I just, the archery stuff is what gets gets the old heart pounded pretty good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I'm
but
sure.
that's good stuff. But you talk about outside. I mean, I could move to Colorado, Montana, New Mexico, any of those states. I mean, it's just different.
Mm-hmm.
It's just different. Like, you really can't explain it.
Yeah,
it's just one of those kind of deals. You just got to go, and then you're just like, wow.
Right.
It's like, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I got to go elk hunting every year now.
Okay, well, I'm going to do that so I can just tell my wife I'm going elk hunting every year.
Yeah.
You have to, right? Once you go,
it's required. It's required.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Well, so obviously this passion of yours, all of us have it in us that start going at a young age, and the progressions. You look back at the progressions you've gone through. Where does the Ridge Rock Hunt Company work into all this? Where did that start with you, and what's it all about? Let's start diving into that.
Yeah. Well, I guess probably back in 2016 or so, I started helping run the Mississippi Bowhunters Association, and so that really kind of got me deeper into the hunting side of it. And my wife Lacey, she's an avid bow hunter, but she generally takes a shotgun for turkey season now. But she likes to bow hunt, and actually she shot a 149-inch deer in Kansas last year with her bow. So that was worth the trip.
Yeah.
But anyway, I started off working with the Mississippi Bowhunters Association, and just the bow hunting stuff just kind of catapulted from there. And then I had a guy call me from another company and said, "Hey, I see all this stuff you're doing with the Mississippi Bowhunters Association," which we had to let that go because we had so much other stuff going on now. So but anyway, had another guy that owned a company, and he called and said, "Hey man, you'd be interested in trying to book hunts, blah, blah, blah." And so I was like, sure. So I did that for probably about 4 years with another company. And then, I had just tons of people saying, "Man, you could do this on your own. You need to start your own business." So anyway, I kind of had it on my mind for quite some time. And here's where the God part's in all of it. But I went to New Mexico on a mule deer hunt with one of my outfitters. He had a smaller ranch. It had a couple nice bucks coming in, and this is a detour rabbit hole from the original story here, but it's going somewhere. So just hang in there with me.
No, those are perfect.
So anyway, went out to New Mexico by solo hunter, out there by myself, which was absolutely amazing. DIY total deal. Had a couple big bucks coming in, and had a game plan for the next day. The next morning, I'm in there before the sun comes up. Got a plan on where I want to be. get there, the bucks were coming off of the neighboring property. The neighboring property started moving cattle out that day.
Oh, man.
So the bucks didn't. They obviously, all that traffic. They were literally jumping across the road coming to the property and stuff, and I kind of put a kibosh on that. But anyway, I got to walk on this entire property and be able to just really take in just the scenery, and because a lot of times you can get down in your dumps when things aren't going your way, whether it be with hunting or just life in general. And it was just a good time I had a lot of alone time. My wife Lacey said I had a walkabout with the Lord.
Yeah.
and honestly, that's exactly what it was. And because after like 2 days, I was like, man, this has just gotten bad.
Oh,
and then I was like, but here I am on the side of a mountain in New Mexico, enjoying God's creation, and that totally changed everything.
Yeah.
And so, and here again, my wife and I had been talking about it, and she was like, whatever you want to do, she said, you can do it 100%. You got the experience, and the outfitters like you, and blah blah blah, this kind of stuff. And so I had it on my mind, and then I went to another part of the ranch and kind of went up to the south end where it's like a rock cliff and tons of rock that had fallen down. It was just like a valley of just rock.
Yeah.
And I get up there to the rock, or right there close to it, and there was a dead skull, cattle skull. And I actually have it on top of my refrigerator now. We actually used it at our wedding. Because when I saw that skull, I was just thinking about, there again, not the hunt wasn't turning out like I expected it to, but the skull just reminded me that I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I'm here for a reason. And maybe part of the reason the good Lord sent me out there for that trip was for me to have that walkabout with the Lord.
Right.
Because Lacey and I had been dating for a while. And on that trip, I decided that, through a lot of prayer and just talking it over with her and just trying to listen to what the good Lord was leading me to. And I saw that skull, and I was like, you know what? I need to do something, because, I'm not getting any younger. I love Lacey, and I was like, you know what? When I get back, I'm going to get in a ring, and we're going to get married, and we're going to do this Ridge Rock thing together, and have a joint venture where she and I can work together and hunt together and all those kind of things. And I brought that skull back. Well, that was the only trophy I brought back with me, and it's one of my most treasured trophies that I have.
Yeah.
And and I've killed some nice animals over the years, and but it was just the God just had his hand in it, and he always has his hand in everything. And I'm 100% believer in everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you look into God, and of course I've had a tight relationship with the good Lord for quite some time, but man, just once I settled into why I was out there, and just the clarity that it brought me, and just seeking guidance and having faith, and those kind of things, and it was just one of those kind of trips that led me to where I am today. And so anyway, that's a really long story for how Ridge Rock Hunt Company got born.
Yeah, but that's an awesome story. I mean, like that backstory really sets the foundation for, I'm sure, the rest of the story. But Eric, when you're talking about that, it reminds me of a few things. We do my brother and I do the Faithful Outdoorsman segment as well. Each week, we try to do it each week. Sometimes we fall short with scheduling, but one of the things we did maybe 3 weeks ago was we talked about the wilderness, and when Jesus was baptized and then he went to the wilderness after that. It just resonates with me so much. Jesus has resonated with me so much over the past few months as I've really sought after him and stuff like that, because man of my own heart. I mean, when he goes through something, he gives his sermons, he does his miracles. He retreats to the wilderness, to the desert, it says in the Bible, and by himself most of the time, just for that clarity, for that one-on-one time with God, and for him to rejuvenate himself. And that's what really, and then after his baptism, he had gone to the desert for 40 days, and just that lone trip is where he was tested. And out of that test, he was ready to take on his mission after that of
Yeah.
spreading the word. And so like hearing that is exactly what I was thinking in my mind, how it resonated with
Yeah.
me about the things
Yeah.
that, I've been picking up on, and just how it's been connecting with me. So awesome story, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly why you went there.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I mean, I remember standing on the edge of that rock and just in awe. And it was it was earlier in the morning. It was a cool, misty, icy kind of misty
Mhm.
morning that morning, and just taking in just the ice hitting me, and just I was consumed with that moment.
Yeah.
And I mean, literally tears came to my eyes, and I didn't just like break down into an ugly cry, but I was just, how sometimes you just get to a moment, and then just just a few little subtle tears
Yeah.
kind of come down, and that's exactly what happened. And man, it was just it. I had 3 more days to hunt, and I told Lacey, I said, it's time for me to come home.
Yeah.
you know
I got it. I got what
yeah,
I came
yeah.
for.
It's like it's time for me to come home, and she even said, she said, whenever I got back, she's like, "Are you okay?" Because she said just something was different,
Right.
and it was, So and I try to, we all get busy and we all have a gazillion things going on, and but it's always good to stay grounded. It's always good to have a perspective of where you came from, and
Yeah.
and why you're there, and what the mission is, and so anyway, that's
No,
me.
great connection on that story. But so anyway, you come home, get married, life's going well. You start taking off with the business now, right?
Yeah, right, right. So we uh, uh had quite a few outfitters that had been working with, and it just kind of went from there. So basically, all the places that I book hunts for through the Ridge Rock Hunt Company are places that either I have been personally, or a buddy that I trust, emphasis on the word trust, has been to, and vouches for them. And then I even
Right.
put them through a vetting process even at that point. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
mhm.
I guess what I can compare it to, I think we talked about it, was, I did the book your hunt. I think it's the Jim Shockey thing. That's what I did my
Mhm.
axis year through. So that's the kind of service that you're providing. You're getting with these vetted outfitters. You're
Yep.
getting clients kind of, and almost to me, I mean, I was trying to think of how to present it on the podcast, but it's almost like a travel agent for somebody going on vacation, right? But for
Right.
a hunting outfitter. So can you just kind of go through the process of like what, how does the outfitter come to you to get on the list and the vetting process? And then how do clients or potential clients reach out to you, and what's the process of all that?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the outfitter side of it, honestly, I'm real leery for new outfitters that I don't know, um, or don't have any experience with, or don't know
Right.
anybody that's hunted with them. I tend to not do those things unless it's somebody that I've watched for some time, and know that they're quality, and just see the reviews and those kind of things, and then I may venture out some of that, but I'm very leery to do that, just
Yeah.
because I don't have the firsthand knowledge of what exactly goes on at this place.
Hmm.
Because number one, that is number one, the top priority is, making sure that people go on a hunt, and it is what it is. Whatever I tell them it is, that's what it is when they get there.
Gotcha.
And I don't want any variations from it. So, but anyway, as far as the outfitters go, if I would probably need to come check out the place.
Yeah.
And that's another issue right there in itself, is because I'm a sales manager for another company, and that's a full-time job, and Ridge Rock is a full-time job, and I do a whole heap of stuff, kind of a consulting role for a company called Backwoods Premium Wildlife Products.
Hmm.
And so basically I have like 3 full-time jobs right now. And so it's kind of difficult to get out and venture out, but I'm doing a little bit of that this September, and looking forward to doing that, meeting some new people, seeing some new places.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, if there's some outfitters out there that are looking for somebody to help them book hunts, If it's somebody that I don't know, I'm really slow to pull the trigger,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Just because I want to, quality is number one in my eyes, as far as what I try to bring to the table for people that are looking for hunts.
Right.
And so if I can't in my brain feel comfortable, 100% confident, not comfortable, 100% confident of doing it, then I just can't do it.
Right. Well, the experience is 95% of it. The other 5% is the hunt. I mean, I know
Yeah.
hunt is the experience, but safety, what's the accommodations like? You need to it's your name tied to it when you send somebody out there. So you don't
Right.
want them to be like, man, I got it here and these guys don't even know how to hunt.
Right. Yeah.
So I get that, but I mean, so has this really picked up? I think a lot of ways that I remember seeing or still see that interaction between outfitters and future clients is more like the
Mhm.
shows, the hunting shows, the Virginia Outdoor Sportsman Show or
Mhm.
the Harrisburg Show or any of them.
Yeah.
Is this becoming a pretty big avenue for people to want to advertise through?
You talking about the shows or the
No, no,
booking
no,
hunts or?
through like the company like yours.
Yeah, yeah. There's I'm sure there's quite a few out there. I don't really keep track of all of
Right.
them. I know there are some larger ones to where um you can click on a link and book a hunt, which
Yeah.
not really my style.
Right. You're more
Um,
personal, hands on.
right, right.
This is Doug Roberts. He's raised some of the largest typical whitetails in North America. His farm produces the best hunting scents in the world. His life's quest is 200-inch typical whitetails.
And you can find out a whole lot more about him right here on the Marshfield Outdoors podcast. Hey, we're teaming up with Conquest Scents for the next few months. Go over to their website, site-wide, 15% off. Use promo code Marshfield15. Till next time, we'll see you in the woods.
And there are some other. I'm sure there are plenty of other booking agencies out there for hunts, but man, you really have to be careful of who you talk to, who you deal with, because
And send your money to, right?
yeah, exactly, no doubt. But I mean, honestly, man, there's so many scams out there, and I mean, we all get these spam calls and scam calls, and
Mm-hmm.
that's in every industry in the world. And it's and that's why I encourage folks to plan their hunt. If you want to do a hunt, let's plan it.
Yeah.
Last minute stuff is okay. I may not have what you need, but the planning portion is what I try to. That's what I'll try to market. On a lot of my stuff is let's plan, let's plan, let's plan, let's plan. But yeah, you just want to make sure that you know somebody that's dealt with them, or a lot of homework. You can't trust everybody out there, and
Right.
that's just the way of the
Well,
world, man.
it's tough. I mean, for me, I mean, I don't just have money to blow. So when I sit there and everything seems to be online now, when you sit there and
Yeah,
spend $3,000 to pay half your hunt or something, whatever it is, all of a sudden it's
yeah,
going out your bank account. Well, I hope I see you in a year. Hope the company
right.
doesn't go under. Hope that I can go on my hunt so I get that, but all right, let's go into talking about planning your hunt. How do you help with all that, and then obviously start steering towards one of your outfitters for that? How kind of go through that as far as the client base side.
Yeah, well, on the client base side, we have a hunt inquiry on my Ridge Route Hunt Company website that is very helpful to really start the process.
Yeah.
Because with social media, a lot of people want to ask questions, but they don't want to. They don't want to like. I have people send me messages all the time. I'm like, hey, just call me.
Yeah.
Let's just get on the phone. That way we can talk. We can knock out this 3-day messaging back and forth in 20 minutes or
Right.
or less maybe.
Right.
So
Right.
but for whatever reason, I don't know if people think that I'm gonna hound them or whatever, but I don't do that kind of stuff either. But anyway, so people call and really what I try to do is gather information as far as what's your budget, when do you want to go, what do you want to hunt, how are you wanting to hunt it, what are any travel restrictions, physical restrictions, things of that nature.
Yeah.
And then, I know all of the outfitters that I deal with enough to know that, okay, well, Chad would probably be well suited for this hunt, this hunt, this hunt, but probably not so much for this hunt, this hunt, and this hunt. So I try to just, and that's what I offer to people is, based off of what you're telling me, this is what I have to offer you, that 100% vetted outfitters. And at the end of the day, people are either going to say, no, it's not really what I want to do, or they're going to say, yeah, I want to book it. And so I just leave it up to the people that are calling, because it's their hunt. And it's their money, and they can spend it with whoever or however they want to do so. I like it when people go hunting with me, but there's plenty other places out there to go hunt, and if people like to do a ton of research, but there again, the whole vetted process, the vetted outfitters that's a pretty big deal for people to be confident.
Right.
And another thing too, like the elk hunts that you mentioned, of course, I do have mule deer, elk, antelope, bear, turkey. I mean, really just any axis, black buck, any exotics. Several places out in Texas for exotics, whitetail, duck. I mean, literally just about any animal that any hunter would want to try to go get. I have it. Mexico, Canada, those kind of things. But it just it just depends on what the hunter wants to do, and what their budget is, and what I have available. And I tell it like it is. I'm not sugarcoating anything. On the elk stuff, I have $12,500 hunts. I have $20,000 hunts. So they can be a little expensive.
And I'm sure with you getting like personal information from them, I mean, maybe sometimes some of these hunts are just unrealistic. Maybe it's a physical constraint, maybe it's a monetary constraint, and I'm sure it's helpful for you. And maybe you don't just say no, but maybe you're like, hey, I have this that I can probably offer you that kind of better suited for you, better suited for your budget, because obviously, I think a lot of people have a certain bucket list animal they want to go after, and sometimes it's just not feasible. But if you can still consult them and get them through the process and get them to an experience, something that maybe they didn't think about, or something that's more in their wheelhouse, I think that's super helpful too. That you, as personal contact with the potential client, it probably is really helpful and good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, again is let's plan. If somebody says, I want to shoot an axis deer, but I don't want to pay $3,500.
Right.
I can't pay $3,500. Okay, well, let's plan for 2025.
Right.
Can you have $3,500 by 2025? And so that's all part of the planning process. And so anyway.
Yeah. Well, I haven't told my wife yet, but I'm gonna get with you because I want to book a mule deer hunt. I've always wanted to do a mule deer, and I'd love to go with the bow. I'd love for that challenge. But I went to South Dakota 2 years ago now on a pheasant hunt. A lot of times the guys on my wife's side of the family will do a men's trip, a little fellowship retreat, and it's usually hunting. So we went to South Dakota on a pheasant hunt, and I was in the lodge that first afternoon, and we were gonna start hunting the next day. And as the first mule deer, there was 3 does that came across there, and I was like, "That's a mule!" Like, they are huge,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not
Huge
used to seeing
ears.
them. It's like, goodness, and I just ate up with it after that, and so
they're cool
we'll have
looking
some planning
animals.
to do.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually headed to Montana. I love Montana.
Yeah.
Of course, I love Colorado, and I also love New Mexico, and I'd probably love Utah and Idaho and all these
Just
other
love hunting.
Wyoming, and all these other places too. But Montana, man, I'm headed up there for a early. My brain went blank. Archery antelope hunt. I've been to this place that we're going to twice already. I mean, I can tell you how many antelope there are there, but you just really can't see it. You have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I mean, it's like you're going to get a shot or a few. I had a buddy that missed 4, 2 years ago. So,
Oh, man. Hope you have
but
nothing to cover.
oh yeah, for real. But anyway, so we're going there. Lacey and I are going up there the last week of August, and then we're driving back to Billings, Montana, to get to drop her off for her flight back to Mississippi, and then me and my buddy Jim Kent from Alabama are driving up to a little town called Malta, Montana, right on the Canadian border, and doing the spot and stalk mule deer hunt for the
That's awesome.
for the archery opener. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And
So
I mean,
when is that?
That's going to be September the 2nd through the 6th.
Okay. Well, I'll be in Winnipeg on the 2nd.
Yeah.
And then driving up to Bear Track Outfitters the next day and doing my first black bear hunt there in Manitoba.
Oh yeah, that's
So,
right.
Excited about that.
Matter of fact, I talked to Larry Mack today, and he said that he's planning on going back up there. We're gonna try to get it worked out where he can go back. So
yeah, that sounds good.
We were talking. Well, I told him I'd heard he was going back, but anyway, and then we're coming back, or I'm coming back to Mississippi, and then going back to Montana for the last week of September on an elk hunt with a new outfitter for the mule deer and for the elk hunt.
Awesome.
Well, I've never hunted with him. I met him in person. Super nice guy. Super excited about getting up there. He sends me pictures all the time, and just communication. Communication is key. Like if I would say with booking hunts or working with outfitters, communication is key. If I can't get an outfitter on the phone when I need to get him on the phone, then I don't book hunts for that outfitter.
Yeah.
Because people have questions for me, and I just, and that just popped into my head when I thought of Nick. But communications, that's huge on my end.
Yeah, well, I mean,
a crucial part of my business.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like I said, I think the biggest anxiety that I would have would be sending clients on these hunts and their expectations and it falling short because of something that the outfitter did or doesn't do. Obviously, hunting's hunting, so the actual harvest part you can't really, obviously dictate, but when people are paying for hunt, they're paying for the experience too. They're paying for that week away, 8 days away from the family and from work, and you don't want them showing up there and they're just unhappy with everything. So
yeah. But I tell you what, man, I do book hunts with people that kill a lot of stuff. I mean, and that's one of the reasons why is because, being in it for the experience should be the number one reason that people go.
Right.
Especially when you're carrying a bow around. Because when you got a bow in your hand, your odds decrease.
Right.
And but the places that I send people to, regardless of what outfitter it is, I'm looking for high opportunities.
Yeah.
You can't control the weather, you can't control the hunter, you can't control whatever, but just an opportunity to be in the game and to have an opportunity to harvest an animal that is respectable and average size of what I've told you, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so
well, no, Derek, I think this has been awesome. I hope maybe we can drum up some business for you as well. I think we'll be talking anyway, so trying to plan something for myself, and maybe we can get on a hunt together or something. If you're going somewhere in the next year or two on a mule deer hunt, we can talk about that too. But where can everybody reach you at, Derek?
Well, my personal cell is the number one way, and that's somebody's calling me.
You're good.
662-803-2001. And obviously my Facebook page, that's a hot item and get tons of messages, and it's a great place to get on there and scroll and see what kind of hunts are promoting. Some hunts don't make it on the page because they get booked up so quick. I do have my stepson's calling me. I do have some hunts that where I have a lot of clients, and I know like a lot of those clients like to do, and I try to have a personal relationship with everybody and say, hey Chad, I had this mule deer hunt pop up. You interested for 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, sign me up. Well,
Right.
that one may not ever make the Facebook page. So
Yeah.
but anyway, Ridge Right Hunt Company on Facebook. I have Ridge_Rock_Hunt Co on Instagram. I have TikTok, which is Ridge Right Hunt Company. Probably more active on the Instagram and on the Facebook, yeah. And then I have a YouTube page, which is Ridge Right Hunt Company.
Yeah.
So,
now on your YouTube page, I haven't really been over there yet. I subscribed to the day to it, but do you have like videos and stuff from different hunts and stuff, or what do you use that mostly for? Just same thing as, promoting reels and stuff like that, shorts, I guess.
Yeah. And I do some of that, mainly the shorts.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I like the video hunts, but if the camera and a shot opportunity come up, the camera's going down.
I'm not getting paid yet to use
Yeah.
somebody's all their equipment and stuff yet. So guess
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
I'm there for the kill.
Yeah, these guys that are self-filmers and do it right, hats off to you guys.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are that is impressive.
Yeah.
Because number one, you just got so much gear and so much other stuff to plan for and put up, and man, it's just, and a lot of them, that animals walk off that they probably could have shot if they didn't have that camera there.
Oh yeah, I
But
know.
but anyway, so yeah.
Well, I appreciate Derek. I think this has been an awesome episode. I've been excited about getting you on, and hopefully we'll be talking soon about maybe booking a hunt. But everybody, I appreciate you tuning in this week. Hey, if you would help us out, leave a review or rating on your podcast platform that you listen to. I'd love for people to start engaging with that a little bit, that listen. That's going to help us kind of get out to more people. It's going to start getting our rating up and stuff like that. So if you don't mind, I'd love for the help with that. I appreciate you listening, and until next time, we'll see you in the woods. Thanks, Derek.
Thank you, man. Enjoyed it.